So let's say you found a skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dapper Reacts number 2044. There we go, 44. I don't know what numbers we're on.
2044, you really are in French mode.
Yeah, there we go. Well, yeah. 2044, by the way, for those of you who don't know, well, I mean, it would be like 440, and then 4 would be like, 84. French is weird. 80, yeah, is 80, yeah, 88, yeah. French numerals are particularly dumb. Basically, Latin had like a base 20 counting system, and French was like, well, we're going to kind of adopt the base 10 system, but also kind of not. DM pour out... Hold on, I have to double check the full name. DM pour out one vegan nog for my homie's wing. For $2 says, go Godzilla. Thank you very much, we'll take a drink for that. I'm in fact drinking some coffee, not some nog.
Speaking of Godzilla, -1 was so good.
I still haven't seen it. I need to go see it. By the way, for those of you who are celebrating new calendar Christmas, it is in fact still Christmas, so Merry Christmas to those of you who are doing that. To the rest of you, Happy Saturday. Because, I want you to be happy on Saturday, even if you're not celebrating Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, Vishanti, normally,
yeah,
I am the one who selects the videos and the subjects that we go over for this, but this is a bit of an exception to that, because you are the person who pushed for this video, or these videos, because we have a cut down version of 3 different videos to go over today, and you picked today's main character, shall we say. So why don't you give us a little bit of an overview of who he is?
Okay, so L.A. Marzulli is a crank, pseudo-historian, pseudo-everything. There is hardly a conspiracy that he has not bought into. He is a proponent of lost ancient high technology. He thinks giants are real. He thinks they're related to the biblical Nephilim. He believes the flood literally happened. He thinks that aliens are some sort of perhaps interdimensional demonic psyop. He thinks that comets and other natural phenomenon are signs of the end times. He is a far-right, unsurprisingly, fundamentalist Christian who sometimes will, sometimes quote Hebrew things, because there's this weird stripe of like philo-Semitism in the far-right Christian community. So most of his content is poorly researched, hackneyed conspiracy garbage. And I've taken a look at him with some other creators before, like Fossil Daddy.
Speaking of the...
Can't stand this guy.
Odd strains of philo-Semitism here and there in Christianity, there's a reason why there's a mezuzah here that the person who purchased it had no idea what it was or what it was for, but just thought the Hebrew letters were cool. And so it was gifted, and it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, there's just a random mezuzah here. It's not on a doorpost, by the way. It's in the completely wrong place.
Of course it isn't.
Well, I mean, it's not like it came with anything to put in it. So, the South Geek...
Siloof is saying that I need to make sure that you read their thing because you misread their super chat last time.
Oh, yes. Yes, that is true. So, hold on. I'm going to check my DMs with Siloof and make sure that I get what their super chat was. But first I'm going to read The South Geek 5, The Final Frontier. Nice. Obviously a reference to the best Star Trek movie. Says, leaving this here to thank Dapper for an awesome and highly educational 2023 in this community. Love to you all. A heart a day keeps the Bilbo away, which is true. So let me make sure that I get this correctly. If the Sealuft tells you in there what exactly it is that I'm supposed to say, let me know, because I'm scrolling up through our DMs, because I did promise that I would try to get it right this time.
Merry Wishmas.
Oh, yes, there was a super chat, and I thought it said Merry Christmas, and I thought it's Merry Wishmas. Oh, and then I see that the Sealuft has also DM'd me just now to make sure. Thank you very much. Merry Wishmas, yes, so thank you. Let's see. Asta the Kai in Xmas disproves Jesus review. Says, impressive. I think L.A. Marzulli almost out-baculed AIG. Alas, AIG is a bigger bag, which outmatches him for that reason. Yeah, they are much more popular than he is. Yeah. Not as nearly as many people have heard of L.A. Marzulli as have heard of Ken Ham. Here's the thing. We aren't doing the drinking rules. I'm not going to go through all of them. You guys know them. If you don't know them, you'll pick up on them. And, you know, you can just keep track with the drink counter. So, I am drinking a coffee that has, we'll say more than a splash of brandy that was put at the bottom of the cup before I poured the coffee in. Yeah. I am not drinking more of the almond nog because I've had stomach cramps for the past 5 days since drinking it, which means I think I might have an almond sensitivity. So that's a fun thing to learn. Nothing against almonds generally, just me personally, probably never going to eat almonds again. All right. So we have 3 videos to go through, and I have cut these down from like over an hour worth of content to just under 20 minutes of content, because one of the things that you'll realize if you start watching L.A. Marzulli videos is that he spends nearly half or more of each video either just talking about theology that's not obviously connected to what's going on, shilling random products, or... Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, it's mostly nonsense. Yeah. So
he'll tell you to invest in this definitely not a scam gold stuff, and then he will also shill for these like super right-wing isolationist paramilitary prepper kits. So
and supplements.
Yeah.
He's basically just like
supplements.
Basically his sponsors are just like the sponsors that Alex Jones would get if he went to wish.com for sponsors.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. And look, I'm not going to tell you not to buy gold. You want to buy some gold, go have fun buying some gold. But, like, you know, it's not going to be the magic investment that makes you rich. Gold loses value, like most investments do from time to time. So, yeah. Arrakis for $5 says, we need a New Year's resolution. Share a Dapper video at least once in 2024. Hopefully, how about this? Share a Dapper Dino video at least 52 times in 2024. Once per week. Every week, just share one. There's usually 3 per week. Coming up soon, there's going to be a week where there's probably going to be 4, because I'm going to be doing a stream on a Wednesday with a Flat Earther and with Jackson Wheat. So that'll be something. Hey, he really liked the thumbnail. Because, you know, I took time to actually make, like, you know, a fancy Flat Earth model. I actually, like, took a rectangular sphere map that NASA puts out for use in CGI, actually mapped it around a disk using a polar projection, which wasn't easy to do. I had to, you know, manipulate all sorts of stuff with the math internal and whatnot. And I added like an actual volumetric atmosphere section. Like I did my work on this one. And so, you know, anyway, here's L.A. Marzulli. Well, okay. Here's La Marzulli et l'Obélisque du Vatican.
There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail.
No. I gotta stop him right there.
The Genesis 6 narrative states.
Stop him right there.
Okay.
Right off the bat, he is accusing. He's accusing all historians of a conspiracy to hide the truth.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty common thing.
Deliberately obfuscated.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even trying to be like, oh, just, you know, don't want you to... He's not even dancing around it. He's just going, nah, that's been deliberately hidden and obfuscated.
That's actually a fairly common thing among pseudo-historians and pseudo-archaeologists, because the thing is, around most topics, historians have a pretty strong consensus, right? Like, you're not going to get too many historians into a fight about, like, I don't know, like the causes of like the Punic Wars, right? Like that's pretty well established, right? Or maybe, I don't know, the cause of the Civil War, also pretty well established. And hey, guess what? If you think it's something that isn't slavery, no, it still traces back to slavery. Yes, good point. Yeah, that's a thing. Just wanted to put that out there for anyone who might be watching and thinking, no, it's states' rights. Yeah, it was about states' rights to continue to hold slaves. Yeah. It was economics. Yeah, it was economics because the economics of the South was
built on slavery.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, you're not wrong that the states' rights and economic concerns were a factor, but they, again, trace right back to...
But what was the specific right?
Right, exactly. It all traces right back to that one little thing. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. My Infinite Journey for $5 says, AIG is a fabulous funhouse full of fallacious phalluses. Misspelled phallus to keep the F theme going. I like it. Take a drink for that. Ben Thick Tunicate B2022 for £5 says, AIG are a prodigious pompous package of preposterous projecting person pencils parceled with a pair of pom-poms. Wow. Very nice. I never see... Pom-poms is a new one for me when it comes to that euphemism. Never heard him called that before. So that's a new one.
Davis says, Canada kicked America's ass in the War of 1812. Fight me. One thing I can say is America's never launched a successful invasion of Canada.
That's true. That's true. Although it also hasn't launched that many invasions overall. Then again, hasn't...
I'm just saying that's technically true, which is the best kind of true.
Yep. America's also never launched a successful invasion of, say, Afghanistan.
Ouch.
Yeah. To be fair, virtually no one ever has, because it's one of the hardest places to actually invade in the entire planet. Like, it's like, no, you're not going to invade Afghanistan and have that go well.
All those mountains.
Mm-hmm. Which the locals happen to know because, you know, they live there.
They live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I love what Crypto457 says in the chat. Is that Graham Hancock with a Homer Simpson beard?
Basically. They have a lot of similarity. Like, Graham Hancock has fewer crazy conspiracies that he buys into. Like, you're probably not going to hear him talking about fairies, or Bigfoot, or the Nephilim.
I mean, no, I think he is on Team Bigfoot.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're still probably not going to hear him talk about fairies.
They have him on. Well, they have him on Ancient Aliens a lot, and they've done episodes on cryptids and Bigfoot, like Bigfoot and UFOs. And
was he on those?
He may or may not have been on them.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't seen every episode of Ancient Aliens, but chances
come on.
are
We gotta do an Ancient Alien marathon, I guess.
Okay, start with the one on the flood, because that one's a trip.
Mark A. Smith, member for 11 months, and is at the tetrapod level, says, but what caused the Clone Wars, Godzilla? Good point.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was space taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Never made a whole
Very
lot
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, technically, it was another secessionist war, although I don't think it actually literally surrounded slavery, because pretty sure that in areas that the Republic tightly controlled according to the lore, they had outlawed that practice, and it really only persisted in like areas that were under only nominal Republic control or were under like Hutt control out in the Outer Rim. But hey, this is not a Star Wars lore video.
That the Nephilim are on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If that's true, can we find evidence that corroborates this? I'm L.A. Marzulli. Join.
Also, sorry, I had him way too loud.
I mean,
so
that's a valid question, but the answer is we haven't found any.
Yeah. There's no positive evidence that Nephilim or giants existed. If by that we mean giant human-like organisms, and there are places that if R.L.A. Marzulli's ideas were true, we would expect to find such evidence, and we don't. Which means not only do we have a good reason to not accept the claim that Nephilim roamed the earth, but we actually have justification to reject the claim, which is a curious thing that apparently, I am finding out, a large number of people who self-identify as skeptics and atheists run away from. The idea that they might want to give justification for the rejection of a claim, or even just the failure to accept a claim. Hey, if you're out there and you're some kind of atheist who hangs out on the internet, it's okay. You don't have to run away from any burden of justification. If you don't accept a claim, you can actually justify it by explaining why it is that you think that the evidence or arguments put forth for the claim fail, and why you have reasons to think the claim is untrue based on your own arguments. Don't worry about it. You won't shrivel up like a dying rose in the hot desert sun if forced to actually think a little bit. DM, pour out one vegan nog for my homies wing for $5 says, all historians through history have made the same redactions throughout history, regardless of political or religious leanings passes Occam's razor. Well, there is that.
Yep.
That actually does bring up one thing, which is to say that it is the job of historians to check past historians. That is a big part of being a historian. And so when the consensus on a historical fact changes, that is usually a good thing. That means we found better sources, we found more rigorous ways to examine the sources, perhaps we found archaeological corroboration for a new historical interpretation, stuff like that. As to the Kai and Xmas, disproves Jesus Ryu for $2 says he misspelled Machu Picchu 0 out of 10. Did he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did. There's only one C in there, huh? To be fair, I did misspell Marzulli in the intro slide, so you know.
Eh.
I also put La Obelisk instead of L'Obelisk, so it should have been L apostrophe, and I didn't. So
I don't know that much French.
Yeah, my mom's side of the family is gonna come and beat me up now. So, oh well.
Sorry.
As we go on the trail of a Nephilim.
There's an artifact. I'm so excited about this. There's an artifact that's in plain sight. Millions of people go by this thing and no one gives it a second thought. I'm talking about the Vatican Obelisk. It came from
what's he going to say about the Vatican
during the
Obelisk?
time of Caesar Augustus. So you're looking at...
I mean, so far, we're going to take a drink because he's basically right.
All right.
Like,
Yeah.
30, 40 BC. Caligula then moved it. It sat there, and then it took 900 men, 300 horses, between 5 and 7 months, depending on what research you want to look at, to move this thing.
Oh, by the way, the Vatican Obelisk is in St. Peter's Square, which is the one location that single-handedly makes the Vatican City the highest crime country in the entirety of Europe. Because there are a lot of pickpockets in St. Peter's Square. And like when you adjust for the relative populations of the Vatican City, which is, you know, a very low number, and the number of crimes that are committed right there in Vatican Square, suddenly the Vatican City is one of the most crime-ridden countries in the entire world. Of course, if you get past St. Peter's Square, then and like you exclude that area, it's also one of like, you know, the lowest crime areas in the world. But,
right.
Yeah. Also, Vatican City does not quite get all the way up to 1 pope per square meter or per square kilometer. So, not quite. It's almost there.
To his present resting place. Unbelievable. This to show you how big it is. 300 tons, about 84 feet tall, made of red granite. And the question is, you can go online and you can see people with copper saws and sand in the crack, and they're doing this. I get that. You can cut granite with a copper saw if you use.
Hey, that's true. We'll take a drink. You can cut granite with a copper saw, which makes me wonder.
I'm impressed that he actually admitted that.
But the thing is, though, since we know that he's going to have some kind of crazy take, why do you think that's not going to be a sufficient answer for him?
Because it takes too long. That's my prediction.
Okay. I actually had to watch this to edit it, so I know, so I'm not going to make a prediction, because that would be cheating.
Sand as an abrasive. But how do you make an obelisk? Why? Because an obelisk, as it goes up, the measurement is changing as it goes up. So we actually fill.
Okay, so his reason is...
What does that have to do with anything?
That the obelisk it's sloped, basically. It's bigger at the base than it at the top, which is, yeah, that's how obelisks work. Turkey Slot for $4.99 says, if you want scientists to fight, just walk into a conference about Spinosaurus paleontology with an attempt at a Ghidorah. So we'll take a drink for the Ghidorah. Thank you. Yeah, no, that'll do it. Spinosaurus is absurdly contentious. So here's the thing. You can cut at an angle with a copper saw. That's the whole thing. There it is. You can do it.
Does he think they didn't like measure things out with chalk lines or anything before they started cutting? You think they just guessed? This is probably fine, and they just start cutting. Yeah,
putting chalk all over a piece of string and then holding it taut and like snapping it is a thousands of years old technology. And like, sure, modern strings like that are fancier, and we have better chalk and whatnot. But like, fundamentally, that's a pretty old technique for marking where you need to saw. And also, I don't know if you know this, but despite what some people might tell you, like some pseudo archaeologists, Egyptian artifacts are usually not that precise. Like when you actually use precision measurements to check, like, are all the sides of this obelisk exactly the same? They're not going to be. The base isn't going to be exactly square. The top pyramid isn't going to be exactly the same on all sides. It's just not, but it looks good enough. And you know what? In an age when your most advanced measuring tools were barely better than your eyes, looks good enough is good enough. In fact, for the most part,
Yeah,
it's still good enough.
That's why I love, excuse me, the channel Sacred Geometry Decoded. SGD literally will test these claims.
Mhm.
Him and Scientists Against Myths, which is a Russian group, where they will actually reproduce Egyptian drills. They'll replicate, architecture or pottery or any of the like cut stones. They'll drill holes with it, and it's like, yeah, you can watch how they did it, and you're like, it takes too long. Only if you're an amateur.
Yeah.
So.
Once you get into a good rhythm with a copper saw or a copper drill, you can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not going to be as good as a modern power tool, sure, but it's not that unreasonable. Alia Jane just joined the channel at the amniote level. Welcome back, Alia Jane. Thank you very much. And also joining the amniote level is in fact extra generous, so I really do appreciate that.
Woohoo!
All right.
And also, what even is the too long argument? Because I hear people like Uncharted X and Bright Insight make these claims like too long. What else were they doing? Did they have to come home for like syndicated reruns in the evening? What was happening?
Yeah, you have to catch the next
So ridiculous.
episode of like Crocodile and Hippopotamus.
Right.
In Vatican Square, it was an unbelievable coup. So Peggy and I are there about 100 yards down from us. We're in the pillars, and behind me is the obelisk, and you'll see that in the clip. 60, 70, 80 yards away, there's another film crew, and that's drawing all the attention. So there we are. The audio is a little sketchy on it. Josh fixed that up. Thank you, Josh. But I think you'll find it interesting.
Josh.
Here's the clip, and of course, I'll weigh in on the end of it.
Rome, Italy, a place of mystery where once the proud Caesars ruled the ancient world, where countless
This whole
That's not the obelisk.
Well, no, but this whole slow piano music while he's showing us like bits of Roman art, it's like you just get to that point. And this is the stuff that I didn't cut out because it wasn't even more waffly than all the other crap. We've already skipped over like 6 minutes worth of shilling just to get to this point.
multitudes lived and died.
Also, I love
in an
how he's
endless-
like, oh, we're going to talk about a deliberately obfuscated history. Hey, have you guys seen the obelisk in St. Peter's Square? It's really big.
Yeah,
I was there one time with Peggy, maybe his wife. It's like, we were kind of sort of close.
No, see, that's the
Did you see it?
CGI obelisk that they show you. The real obelisk is hidden behind the hologram. It's much more impressive.
Oh,
Yeah,
of course.
obviously.
Thought you were going to say it's in the basement.
No, that's where the menorah is.
cycle that began thousands of years ago and continues unbroken into modernity. Rome, where Christianity flourished and spread to all parts of the world.
I'm gonna take a drink. That's not how the history of Christianity works. Actually, Rome failed in several instances to spread Christianity to places that other places ended up spreading Christianity to. For instance, we mentioned Russia earlier. Yeah, Rome tried to spread Christianity to Russia, and they were like, nah, primarily because they didn't want to have to use Latin, whereas the Greeks who were coming up from Constantinople were both learning Slavonic, and we're like, oh yeah, no, we'll translate all our liturgies and the Bible into Slavonic. It's great. Don't worry about that. In fact, why don't we invent you an alphabet to make that easier?
Thanks, Cyril.
Yeah, and his brother
And
Methodius.
his brother?
Yep, brother.
Yeah, brother.
His brother Methodius, yeah. You call the alphabet Cyrillic, but like Methodius had just as much a part of that. So like, I don't know why Methodius gets the short end of the stick on this one. Sorry, Methodius.
Eh.
I mean, hey, it's not a small thing to invent a whole. Well, okay. I'm gonna say to invent a whole new alphabet, but mostly they just took the Greek alphabet and added a few extra letters for particularly Slavic sounds that weren't in Greek. But still, it's a lot of work. DM, pour out one vegan nog from a homie's wing for $5 says, a thesis take a long time to research and write, therefore all these are written by AI or aliens.
All theses.
Okay. And therefore all theses. Yeah, no, that must yeah. If it takes a long time to do something, then humans just don't do it. And they have to rely on advanced technology or aliens. Mm-hmm.
And a long time. Define that. No, shut up.
Yeah. I mean, a long time could mean anything. It could mean 2 weeks.
Also, Crypto457 says, I bet Marzulli thinks kaiju movies are code that giant laser shooting dinosaurs live in Antarctica. Well, just wait.
Goodness.
Where St. Peter's Basilica, the Sistine Chapel, and the secret Vatican Library.
It's not a secret library, dude. It's just not open to the public, but it's open to researchers. You can just apply to get in there and look at the things that you want to look at. I'm taking a drink for the secret Vatican Library. It basically doesn't exist. In fact, many libraries around the world that are public libraries are still not actually just open for anyone to wander in. Remember, when I was getting my history degree, I had to do some of my research in the Boston Public Library Department of Rare Books and Manuscripts. I had to make a request to get in there. I had to schedule a time. I had to go through a security procedure. I had to leave almost all of my stuff in a locker. And then I was allowed in, and I had to request specific texts from the librarian. Does that mean that the Boston Public Library has a secret library section that has all the secrets of the universe that you're not supposed to know about? No. That's just how libraries with high value works work. And the Vatican is one of those.
I mean, and they need to make sure that you're not gonna, eat a painting, Francis Dollarhide.
Also, that section of the Boston Public Library is where the original Flat Earth Gleason map, well, it's actually not a Flat Earth map, but it's where the original Gleason map is held. So, I have in fact seen it in person.
Yeah, the Kent Hovind School for Kids Who Can't God Good in the chat says the Book of Nod. Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's definitely in the secret. That's actually in the secret Vatican Library. That's underneath the regular secret Vatican Library. Yeah, and it's definitely
an old haven.
Yeah, it's definitely written in like Enochian. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Although actually, you can just get a copy of the Book of Nod from like what is it? Is it Free League Publishing?
I mean, I have a copy on my shelf right now.
Yeah, it's not that secret.
Are found behind the 40-foot walls that encircle the tiny nation state known as Vatican City.
It's not a nation state, it's just a state. I'll take a drink. It's not just a word you can toss around. There's no nation that exists primarily within the walls of the Vatican City, so it's not a nation state, buddy.
It is here, in St. Peter's Square, that we examine our first...
I mean, just looking at it, it doesn't look like it's perfectly proportioned, but okay.
Out-of-place artifact.
Oh, Vendeli 1998 asked for $5. Vendeli 1998 for $5 says, "Where is the secret Dapper library that has all your notes you took since the Jurassic?" I can't tell you that for your own safety. Yeah.
Kip Davis says, "You and Josh McDowell, Dapper Dinosaur, he famously researched Christianity in all the great libraries."
Hey, fun fact, you don't actually have to go researching fancy libraries to research Christianity. It's actually pretty easy. Most of the texts are now publicly available from like, just regular booksellers or the internet. Since, hey, here's an interesting fact. Texts from like the first 4 centuries AD aren't copyrighted. You can just publish them. No one can tell you not to.
And yeah, the chat's like, oop arts.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. Artifacts are not out of place unless someone moves them from the place where they came to rest.
This object, as you will see, has been in plain sight for centuries. Yet most, if not all, who pass by it
kind of like the Vatican has been in place for centuries. Okay.
Realize the significance of what they are seeing.
Yeah, dude, it's a piece of rock from Egypt.
It's a piece of rock from Egypt that they moved and slapped a cross on top of to show Christianity's dominion over, like, other countries and religions.
I mean, basically the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Because it was a symbol of imperial conquest.
That's why there's also a globe with a cross on it. It's like, dude.
Oh, wait, are you saying that 1st and 2nd and 3rd century, maybe even 4th century Christians weren't flat earthers? Despite what I've heard from certain people online? Oh my god! You must be Vishanti is now confirmed as a secret crypto-Christian. He's actually a Christian apologist, just trying to spread the truth of Christianity. That's what's happening right now.
Goodness.
In 30 AD, Caesar Augustus...
It's AD 30, but okay.
...had this large obelisk that you see behind, shipped from Heliopolis, Egypt, to Rome. It was then set up. Fast forward, Caligula.
Yeah, and you know how he did that, right?
Put it on a
Mostly on a boat.
Yep.
Yeah.
In this area here, we live in St. Peter's Square. The basilica is very close to this. It remained there until 1586. And you have to remember, where this obelisk was in the time of Caligula was where the circus was. Christians were martyred here, including Peter, who was crucified upside down in Paul.
So
That's a tradition.
yeah,
That's not really super strongly evidenced. I'm not going to say it didn't happen, but okay.
so
What's the point, LA?
we do know that there were persecutions of Christians in the Roman Empire. For instance, the persecution under Diocletian was particularly well recorded.
Particularly severe.
Yeah, it's particularly severe and particularly well evidenced, right? However, we don't actually have a whole lot of firm historical evidence about the actual death of the apostles and their individual alleged martyrdoms. So, was St. Peter crucified upside down in Rome? I mean, I can't say no, but I also can't say that, like, this is definitely a historical fact. Was there?
It's
was there a
just
St. Peter?
not
Yeah, probably.
strongly evidenced.
Yeah. Which means, like, hey, if you want to believe in it, I can't tell you you're wrong. But if you want to tell me that that's definitely a fact of history and it demonstrates something about, like, the validity of the Catholic Church, well, that's also wrong. It doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Bits of Weird the Carpingo, Roger Rage for $2 says, AIG is a bag of undersized obelisks. Godzilla. We'll take a drink for that. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, the Kent Hovind School for Kids Who Can't God Good in the chat says, it's a taffy pulling at St. Peter's, not a Peter pulling at St. Taffy.
DM, pour out one vegan nog for my homie, says, AIG is a bag out of place. It's a bag of out of place bells and hammers. Oh, some of the most famous of the alleged ooh parts. Take a drink for that too.
Tracy Roberts.
Tracy Roberts, who's been a member for 7 months and is at the amulet level, says the globe is just a special representation of the flat Earth, so it can be appreciated from every angle with a good
That's
Mothra.
It. That's it.
That's so amazing.
Great.
That's so great.
Kip Davis says, fierce, insult-ridden tirade debunking that crypto-Christian Vashati from atheist activist blogger Richard Carrier incoming. I look forward to these digital fisticuffs.
Vandalia 1998 for $5 says, did he say in 30 AD Caesar Augustus did that? I'm almost 99% sure the emperor was dead by then.
Yeah, wasn't Augustus way before that? Or am I getting my timeline of like a gajillion Roman emperors wrong?
I mean, Julius was gone by then.
What about Augustus, though?
I actually don't know. My internal map of emperors isn't that great.
He was pretty close to right after Julius, though, right?
I mean, he was like directly right after because he was his adopted son, who definitely wasn't a king, despite inheriting a single autocratic rule of an entire empire, but definitely not a king. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, the people of Rome are like, wait, aren't you a king? And he's like, shut up.
I mean, it's the same thing that happened in the Soviet Union. He's like, no, I'm just the first citizen. It's like, that's
definitely like not an emperor or a czar, right? And he's like, no, shut up. Thank you, Jacques Ptolemy. Augustus reigned until 14 CE.
Yeah. So yeah, he got that wrong.
See?
He either got the 30 wrong or he got the emperor wrong.
Both.
Beheaded. So in 1586, Pope Sixtus V had the obelisk moved.
Did you just call it an obelisk with a T at the end?
I don't have the volume up loud enough to be able to tell.
Okay.
300 yards to where it now resides. It took 900 men,
300 yards.
Horses.
No human being could move stone like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that big of a stone compared to some of the other stones that were moved in the ancient world.
What source you're reading, 5 months or 13 months to actually move it. It was erected. When they
we have a contradiction in how long it took to be moved, therefore it wasn't moved. Gotta use some Richard Carrier logic on this.
Erected the obelisk, the Pope performed a rite of exorcism on it. He knew what he was looking at was something very ancient and perhaps had demonic influence.
I'm just gonna take a drink.
Can we get some citations on that, please?
Yeah. I'm just gonna take a drink for like, oh no, the demonic obelisk that's being moved into the Vatican.
He did an exorcism on an obelisk because it may have had demonic influence. I need citations for that.
And so he did a rite of exorcism on it, blessed it, and now there's a cross on top of it.
I mean, as far as blessings go, I mean, you can get a priest or a bishop to bless just about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, blessings are really common in, like, most religions. Like,
there's also, like, an entire Vatican gift shop where the Pope has personally blessed most of the objects in there that you can buy. So when someone comes back from Rome and is like, I bought you this crucifix, it's been blessed by the Pope, you can be like, oh, neat.
Yeah, just like the other 4,000 crucifixes he batch blessed that day.
Yeah, he batch blessed.
Yeah. Like, look, I'm going to dunk them all in holy water. I'm going to make the sign of the cross. They can all come out of the holy water and put them in the shop. Actually, I'm not actually saying that's how that works, by the way, guys. That's just me making a joke. Goop2 3.
I mean, he could have just walked by all of them and made the cross and been like, all right, they're blessed.
Yeah, but it probably involves some holy water. Most blessings do.
Yeah, probably.
Goop2 3 for $2 says, it was erected unlike AIG. Take a drink for
Can't open school for kids who can't God good says first exorcism, then erection.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean...
Oh, I see. Vadim Slamovsky-Redchenko is saying, it might be true, it's biblical. Recall Moses dealing with Egyptian priests and sorcerers.
You know, speaking of...
Like, I know why he's saying this, but I'm also like, did Sextus think that?
I'm not sure. Also, here Orthodox...
Anything that came out of Egypt or was built by the Egyptians might have demonic influence. Okay, man.
Which ones are the Orthodox popes? Because I'm really only aware of the Antioch the Patriarch of Alexandria as being someone who an Orthodox person might use the word pope of. Mark A. Smith says, "Don't most priests?" I'm reading Ken Hovind School for Kids Who Can't God Good. First exorcism, then erection. Isn't that like the plot of Tobit? Isn't it? I'm not wrong. Am I?
This needs to go in our describe pseudo-canonical books badly.
I mean, the plot of Tobit is basically a woman has a demon-haunted vagina, and a guy goes on a quest to exorcise it so that he can marry her and won't die on his wedding day or wedding night. Hey, some of those pseudo-canonical books have some very interesting plots.
What's
I'm just saying that Jewish literature's metal.
Oh, okay. Pope is Slavonic for priest. Got it.
And this is why we're here.
Hi, Maya.
That the obelisk is made of red granite. And it's roughly 3,000
not red granite.
Oh my goodness.
Pinko Kami granite.
Careful, that granite might seize the means of production of the crucifixes in the Vatican. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're not even produced in the Vatican. I doubt that there's a forge or anything making crucifixes at the Vatican.
There's a forge in the basement of the Vatican.
Ah, yes.
Where they mint all of the crucifixes.
Perhaps even older. You cannot cut red granite in the Neolithic 3,000 years ago.
The Neolithic is not 3,000 years ago. I'm taking a drink for the Neolithic being 3,000 years ago. 1000 BC is not the Neolithic. We're looking at like the Iron Age, my dude. You've already gone past the Bronze Age, the Chalcolithic. Yeah. We've gone through the Paleolithic, the Neolithic, the Chalcolithic. We've gone through the Bronze Age, and we're into the Iron Age. What are you talking about, my guy? And you know what?
It doesn't work.
It is probably true that you couldn't cut this with Neolithic technology. I'll buy that. Yeah.
But the Neolithic's way before all of this.
But we're past the Bronze Age with this. We can use some iron saws to get even better sawing done at this point. Oh my goodness. Did he say 3,000 BC or 3,000 years ago? Because if he said 3,000 BC, then... No, he said 3,000 years ago. Yeah, no, that's definitely not... Because I was just thinking, like, well, maybe if he meant 3,000 years ago, that's
he's way off.
The Chalcolithic. Yeah, no.
Nah.
No. I'm trying to be nice to him, and he just won't let me. He's like, no, I am the dumbest you think I could possibly be. Like, oh, okay.
Cannot
sometimes even dumber.
Red granite in the Neolithic 3,000 years ago with copper chisels.
3,000 years ago in the Neolithic. I am crying.
Okay, so a few things. You don't cut an obelisk out of a quarry with copper chisels, primarily. you use pounding stones because they last longer, and when you're initially making the cut to get the thing just out of the quarry so you can stand it up for finishing work, you don't actually care that it be like super well polished, because you're going to do the finishing work later with copper saws and chisels. So you get big, hard pounding stones. They don't even have to be that hard as long as they can chip the granite a little bit, which means that the stone itself actually doesn't have to be harder than the granite, as long as it has some hard bits in it and it can apply that kinetic force, right? And we have obelisks that were abandoned, either because like the stone broke or the funding ran out or something like that, right? Like you can go look in modern Egyptian quarries and find obelisks that are partially extracted from the rock. And we know they're not finished, like in terms of like the polish and the angles and whatnot. And we know they're being removed primarily by pounding stones. And then once you have it out of there and you stand it up and presumably it doesn't crack, because we also have ones that were attempted to be stood up and then they cracked and they're also not finished. But you stand it up, assuming everything goes well and doesn't crack, then you can get to work doing things like detail work. That's when you polish it. First, you saw it, you use chisels to cut off anything else that's still sticking out. You polish it with sand and a little leather covered tool that you can rub the sand into it to polish it. It's called a polisher. I don't know what other word to use. But yeah, you use this leather and sand polisher. Then it's ready to do things like have an inscription carved into it with, again, copper chisels, if there's going to be an inscription. This one didn't have an inscription, probably because it wasn't actually finished when Rome took it. Asta 1 Marzulli equals 2 HV Ryu.
10
10
Hovens.
10 Hovens. There it is. Yeah, 10 Hovens. For 4.99 says, geez, Marzulli can barely get a sentence out without a pause. Even Kent Hovind can more regularly do that. Godzilla. Yeah, no, he's really dumb. I was originally like, oh yeah, we usually get through like 20 minutes in 2 hours. We're like not even close. We're 5 minutes in and we're almost coming up on the 1 hour mark. We're not getting through all 3 of these today, guys. So we'll probably be back next time with more LA Marzulli.
We are looking at a technology here that was brought to Rome from ancient Egypt that was carved, perhaps, by the Nephilim using technology that has since been completely lost to us.
Yeah, like hitting a rock with another rock. Only the Nephilim can take a rock and hit another rock with it.
Oh my god.
Taking a drink.
When I told you that this guy's even dumber than you think dumb can, like, possibly be.
Oh, speaking of which, I have a link in the description to another video. Shanti, would you like to tell the audience a little bit about that video?
Okay. So I did a collaboration with another creator named Fossil Daddy, who is a person who goes around digging up fossils and things like that. And we took on LA's very credulous videos discussing like alien mummy bodies and the fairy that he found that was sold to him by a Mexican grifter named Jaime Malsan.
That still has taxidermy glue connecting the bat bits and the monkey bits.
Taxidermy glue and like the mounting pins or sticks or whatever. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know, spent like tens of thousands of dollars to have this thing analyzed, and it's fake.
Yeah.
And he just won't admit that it's fake because he spent so much money on it.
So I do highly encourage people to check out that video after this. Christopher Sanford for £5 says, but Dapper, this must have been a Stone Age monument. It's made of stone. That's, I forgot. You can't build with stone after the Stone Age. No one builds stone buildings anymore. It's just not a thing that happens. Since now we're in the information age, we build buildings out of internet. That's how it works. Yep. You just get a whole truckload of internet and, you stand it up and you screw it together with some, some Ethernet cables. And now you have a whole house made of internet. Web. Yeah. That's how we build houses now. I mean, what do you think it is?
And that's why you can say that somebody has an internet because they're pretty handy resource to have.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So if I ever give you a few internets for answering a question correctly or anything like that, you can build a whole house out of that.
The technology I speak of is something that we read about in the book of Enoch, which talks about the angels giving technology to mankind.
Okay. I do appreciate the actual Ge'ez on screen. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a prop for that, because you know what? I don't see a whole lot of Ge'ez out in the wild. So, in case you guys don't know, Ge'ez is the liturgical language of the Ethiopian Tewahedo Orthodox Church. Most of the people who are members of that church as their daily language speak Amharic, which is a language that is very closely related to Ge'ez. It actually is written left to right, which makes it one of only 2 Semitic languages I'm aware of to be written that way. The other one is Maltese, which is just uses the Latin alphabet. So yeah, it goes left to right. It's also, Maltese is the only Semitic language to be an official European Union language. So there you go. That's fun. Anyway, and yeah, so it actually has this, it's actually an abugida. It's not even a syllabary, right? So there's a core consonant, and then each vowel that comes after the consonant is indicated with a different diacritic. So like, if you look at over above fascinating, you see 2 things that kind of look like a P, like well above the word fascinating. And one has like a tail that goes down, and then on the other side a tail that goes up, and the other one has 2 tails that go both down. So it's actually 2 different syllables, both with the same core consonant. So, you know, I appreciate seeing the Ge'ez out there because it's one of the less well-known languages just overall. It's got a long history of writing. There are texts from Ethiopia going back a very long ways. And yeah, so I just appreciate some representation for one of the less well-known, but still very historically important languages in like the area of like Northern and Eastern Africa, the Middle East, in just the history of Christianity overall. Because remember, while a lot of people in the West like to think of the center of Christianity as like Rome, that was not the case for most of Christian, or for a very large portion of Christian history. And places like Jerusalem or Ethiopia were also very important.
Yeah.
And in fact, in some cases,
Alexandria.
might have been more important. Yep.
Yeah.
So, also, in case you've heard the rumor, no, I have no way of confirming whether or not Bob Marley joined the Ethiopian Orthodox Church on his deathbed. It's a rumor. I have no idea if it's true or not. It comes up every once in a while because that's a persistent thing. I've heard a lot of, oddly, both Eastern and Oriental Orthodox people say that, and I'm like, okay, but there's not actually any evidence of it other than like some guy said so. Like, we don't have like a baptism certificate or anything like that, so like, I don't know.
This is what is so fascinating about this site. The obelisk weighs about 300 tons.
I mean, yeah, it's a big block of stone.
It's 82 feet high, and it remains here.
Big numbers there for Nephilim?
Yeah. And it's actually not even that big of a number either.
Yeah, I was going to say 300 tons. That's rookie numbers.
Yeah.
Gotta get those up.
Meter square. Hidden in plain sight. Nephilim architecture.
It's Nephilim.
Calling this architecture is a bit of a stretch on its own. And like, dude, all you managed to say that this is Nephilim architecture is to say, one, that copper saws work on this, but then just to say, but nuh-uh, and then to pretend that 3,000 years ago it was the Neolithic. This is not an argument.
It's so bad.
Fallen angel.
Bad.
Fallen angel technology. I'm taking a turn
Fallen
for this.
angel tech.
Oh my goodness.
Nephilim are giants, fallen angels, and stuff.
Look, only fallen angels.
And they make big things because tiny humans can't make big things. I mean, the Burj Khalifa was obviously built by giants.
Well, yeah.
So.
I mean, and also they were obviously Christian giants. You can tell because 2 of the main support structures actually form a secret cross. I actually heard that
and in plain sight.
An evangelical Christian told me that it was actually a secret Christian symbol deep in the heart of Islamic territory. And I'm like, I think you're just seeing things, man. He's like, look, it's a cross. I'm like, yeah, but that's just 90-degree angles between different lines. Like, that happens all over the place. Anytime 2 lines meet at a 90-degree angle, is that a secret Christian symbol? That can't be right. He was like, no, it's definitely, like, the architect was definitely a secret Christian. I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me back up here. Let's.
By the way, that him starting with the black that fades up, that's his choice. That was not a Dapper editing choice.
Let's take. We'll kind of give them all the benefit of the doubt. So,
well, to be fair, I hard cut to the black. He had a whole bunch of waffling after this. It didn't have anything to do with anything. So I cut to where his voice cut back in. So yeah, it's partially me. I'm the one who did the hard cut. He's the one who did the fade up from black in the first place.
We'll say that this obelisk was made in the Iron Age. So now they've got...
You mean 3,000 years ago, Marzulli? Please, yeah, why would anyone think... I'm taking another drink.
Oh, people will say it was made in the Iron Age, because it was.
Puravara, member for 8 months, and as at the tetrapod level says, able to catch a stream in the holidays. Mothra, well, thank you very much. And hey, if you're one of those people who celebrates new calendar Christmas, well, then Merry Christmas, because it is the 5th day of Christmas in the new calendar. I keep saying old calendar, but that's like not for weeks. Okay, I just finished my coffee.
I answered my own question. I was about to say, hey, aren't there inscriptions on to tell you who made it? And apparently no. It's the largest non-inscribed obelisk to be removed.
Yeah, now I don't know this for certain, but I believe that the reason for this is it simply just wasn't finished. Right? Because before you put inscriptions on it, you want to have a nice flat surface that's reasonably well polished, just so that you have a good starting point. Because one of the things is, just like with most carvings, when you're inscribing these hieroglyphic inscriptions, you draw on the surface what the whole inscription is going to be, so you have a guideline. Because, think about if you started carving into a giant obelisk that had taken months to get out of the ground, probably days to stand up safely, had taken further months to polish down, and you were like, oh, damn it, I used a quail chick instead of a vulture.
Well, it's like when you start to write a poster, and you start the text here, and you realize, too close to the end that you've run out of space.
Just curve
skinnier and skinnier, and it starts going down. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine how embarrassing that would be if that were you and you were doing an obelisk. So yeah, you start with as flat, as smooth a surface as possible, so you have a good writing surface, so you can draw in charcoal or chalk what you're actually going to carve into the rock. Or you actually just use your fallen angel powers, and then first you magically carve the rock using lasers or something, and then you see who's up for getting some of that Sarkos Ateris.
They've got steel. They've got steel chisels. They can harden them. So we'll throw out the copper chisels, because I know that you.
In the Iron Age, it probably wasn't steel chisels. Steel was made in the Iron Age, because it's basically impossible to forge iron without getting some residual steel at some point. But it was usually reserved for very high end and very expensive uses. So if you were fabulously wealthy, maybe you could get a steel dagger or a steel sword or spear or something. But yeah, I don't think anyone was using hardened steel, because the thing is, look, copper chisels will cut through granite. They'll just wear out very fast, right? Iron will also cut through granite. It'll just take longer. Tracy Roberts, for $5 redos, says, clearly a Nephilim toothpick. Yes, for their double rows of teeth. You gotta have a very big toothpick to get in there. If you look really closely, you can see the tooth marks with the Godzilla and a very dapper tetrapod. We'll take a drink. Oh, in case anyone's wondering, yes, I finished my coffee, and then I am using a red wine glass in lieu of a snifter, because I don't own a snifter. I used to own 2 snifters, but stemware is the kind of thing that likes to break and move, so yeah. Liz D for $5 says the Iron Age didn't begin until Elon Musk discovered iron. Also, hey, IG, you're a bag of Kent Hovens, and Merry New Year, Dapper and Vishanti. Thank you very much.
Nice.
All right, here we go with some more LA.
You can't create that with a copper chisel. But
except you can. You've already admitted you can do it with copper saws, my dude.
Yeah, and he said that earlier in the video.
Yeah, that's the thing that really bugs me, is he's already admitted, oh yeah, no, the technology was totally there in the Iron Age, because he knows that it worked. Oh my goodness. I just realized that less than half of the people watching have actually hit the like button, meaning that, unfortunately, once again, I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve, and you should all hit the like button. And we're going to be taking a quick break very soon.
Let's go to iron, and let's talk about the obelisk. So for every, I'm going to use the, instead of the metric system, I'll use inches.
Of course. Why wouldn't you?
Why
not-
wouldn't you?
Yeah, why not use the more widely and more convenient system? More widely used, more convenient.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you see, the metric system was devised by the French, who were going around kicking out all the Christian clergy. So it was clearly a demonic invention, and we shouldn't use the metric system because that's inviting Satan into your life. So every time you use meters or centimeters, you're just tempting fate.
So for every
Okay, the French are
16th of an
demonic,
inch
got it.
that we go up, or
Yes, that's definitely what I was saying.
every 32nd of an inch, whatever increment you want to use, that obelisk is changing shape. So my question to you
It's
as a
just tapered.
Yeah, that's literally all that is, right? If it were some kind of cool, like, wavy pattern that had a taper, and then, like, there was an additional wave on top of that that was well mathematically defined, with, like, maybe, like, a logarithmic increase in, like, frequency in the wave pattern as you go up the obelisk from the base, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, no, I have trouble figuring out how someone could do that using Iron Age technology and have it be that exact. That, you got a point there. It just gets bigger towards the bottom. People have been doing tapers for thousands and thousands of years. It's not that crazy. It's one angle per side, and it's the same angle per side. As to 1 Marzulli equals 10 Hovens, Ryu, for 199 says, yes, you should use God-fearing patriotic miles. That's right. That's right. Statute miles or nautical miles, both are acceptable. So, yeah. I was always... For a while, I was confused as to why nautical miles were a thing. Then I realized, oh, it just makes navigation easier. Because nautical miles fit into, like, the distance between latitude lines is, like, a whole number. Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
stonemason, and this thing is, I think, 86 feet tall. I mean, it's just...
You earlier said it was 82, but I don't really care that much, but sure, whatever. Here's the thing. If you're going to talk about an artifact like this, you should look it up, right? Like, I don't happen to know how tall the Vatican Obelisk is, but I'm not the one who's trying to say that it was created by fallen angels in the Neolithic age. If I were, I would be damn sure I had the measurements right.
It's like, so you've got this block of granite, and I get it. You've got chalk lines, and you can go, okay, but...
Okay, so he does know about chalk line. And copper saws.
It just goes, nah.
And then it's made in the iron.
That's his argument. Is, nah.
Okay, sure.
That's only one side. How would you lay out, how would you even begin to tackle something like that?
The same way, if you can do one side, you can do a second side. And if you can do a second side, you can do a third side. And then you can do a fourth side. And then, hey, guess what? It's only got 4 sides in the first place. If you accept they can do one side, LA, then they can do all 4 sides.
Also, it's the people who don't know anything about stonemasonry. They're like, I just don't know how they could do this. It's impossible.
Yeah, you probably don't, because you don't know anything about how this works. It's like, that's no more compelling than you telling me that you don't know how to program a word processor. Therefore, word processors can only be programmed by angels. It's like, well, I believe that you don't know how to program a word processor. I'll buy that. But the follow-on to that they have to be programmed by angels, seems like a little bit of a stretch. We are going to take a quick break here. I am going to, stretch a little bit. Maybe see if the almond-based stomach cramps are still around. Because, yeah, that's a thing that's been going on since I had that almond milk. I don't know if it's almonds per se or if it's something else that was in there. But, yeah, I'm on day 5 of stomach cramps. It's great. I am officially not drinking that ever again. I might still drink things like, I'll still drink soy milk or whatever. I'm not just saying, like, all non-dairy milk substitutes are horrible. I actually quite like soy milk for one thing. But, yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, soy milk is good. Now, it's not so great in coffee unless it's specifically soy creamer, because that has more emulsifier in it. Because I find if you just pour regular soy milk into coffee, it clumps up and it's gross. But that's why they make soy creamer, which does work well in coffee. Anyway.
And it doesn't make me sick at my tummy.
Which is important. All right, guys, we're going to be back in just a few minutes. In the meantime, though, please enjoy the musical stylings of one Beethoven and maybe some commercials because, well, I got mouths to feed and I got bills to pay, and money don't grow on trees. And of course, as we all know, there ain't no rest for the wicked. We are back, and we'll take a drink for Dapper as a professional. There we go. All right, so welcome back. I do want to say thank you very much to everyone who's here, who's supporting this channel. As you probably know, is almost entirely supported directly by the fans of the channel, my viewers, people like you, right? Sort of like PBS. And without you and your support, the channel mostly wouldn't exist. It would probably exist in some form, but certainly not in the way that, you know, I'm getting you like 2 streams, a pre-scripted video pretty much every single week. The only time in the last, like, goodness, like 2.5 years that that's been broken is because YouTube decided to give me a BS community guideline strike for saying, no, don't eat poison, actually. So with the exception of that, yeah, we've had a very consistent upload of like 2 streams at least, 1 scripted video at least, so sometimes more. You know, and so if you are someone who is currently not supporting, but you would like to, there are a few options that are really, really effective. The Patreon is one of the most effective ones. It's one of the ways that I keep the most of the money that you're, you know, donating. There's also the channel memberships. Patreon starts at $1 a month. Channel memberships start at $1.99 a month. There are higher tiers that give you more rewards. Either way, you get access to a special Discord server that's just for supporters. You get access to months and months worth of pre-release content. There's I think there's like, what is it, like 15 plus videos that are just sitting there waiting for you to watch for early access. Like at
Something
least
like that.
something like that.
Probably
yeah.
more.
And on Patreon, you can get a 15% discount if you go annual. So instead of doing $1 a month, if you want to go like just under $11 a year, you can. Tracy Roberts for $5 redues as their 10th super says, my house is made up of all these reddish rectangles stacked together. I couldn't do this, therefore angels. Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, angels definitely built that house because red rectangles is a technology that I don't know if any humans have figured out.
No, it's too complicated.
Do you think
Also, Kip Davis says this channel also gets kickbacks from the powerful and wealthy biblical studies cabal.
Obviously, yeah. Yep. Otherwise, we would have to agree with Richard Carrier that what's his best argument? Misunderstanding Greek means Jesus is fake? I think that's his best argument. If I misunderstand Greek badly, then I can say Jesus is fake.
Or if he misunderstands like all Jewish texts enough.
Yeah, that helps too. But you know what? It said it somewhere in the Talmud, so don't worry about it. Just read the Talmud, you'll find it. It's right there in the Talmud.
Yeah, just read it.
It won't take you 8 years or anything.
7.5, but yeah.
Well, I'm rounding. Trail Mix, who's been a member for 12 months on the Amulet level, says, are you saying this channel is our fault? Yes. You need to learn to take responsibility for your own actions. The Dapper and a heart. Thank you very much, Trail Mix. But hey, if an annual or a monthly pledge isn't your thing, there's also a merch store linked in the description. There's also a wish list, an Amazon wish list, both for me and for Vishanti, which I'm going to double check to make sure I did in fact add it. Yes, Yes, I did. The wish list is listed in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you would like to help either of us out, there's some great stuff on there. Most of it's just stuff that's, you know, for a little bit of fun. But if I don't have a little bit of fun every once in a while, I'll get burnt out and fail to continue making videos. Yeah. So it's actually very important for the channel that I occasionally have a little bit of fun. But if none of that's your thing, you know, maybe you can't afford it or you just don't want to, please like this video, like my other videos that you watch, share my videos, and maybe, you know, share them with just on a social media. Like put them on your shitter, put them on your Instagram, put them on your Facebook. I don't know, what are the kids using? Kick? Put it on Kick. No, that's not what Kick's for. But do it anyway. Confuse all the other people on Kick. After 1 Marzulli equals 10 Hovens Ryu for 499 says, wait, Richard Carrier thinks the Chi in Christmas disproves Jesus? That joke was supposed to be because capital Chi is X. Dang. So I don't think he would actually accept that particular argument, but many of his arguments do basically just go down to, if I misunderstand this Greek, then it means that Jesus was being talked about as a non-physical entity and was being talked about as a mythical, heavenly person.
And if you disagree, you just didn't understand his writing.
Yes, obviously. Yeah, you either didn't read or didn't understand his writing. To which I might respond, well, yeah, it's hard to understand how it is that you came to this conclusion based on this Greek, which doesn't mean what you say it does. So you're right, I didn't understand that because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So, anyway, here we go. Here's some guy named James.
At the time, you just can't intuit it. You can be like Michelangelo, and you could see within the stone and be a sculptor. But when it comes to precision, it's mathematically driven. And
I want to point out that he has not actually demonstrated that the obelisk at the Vatican has any significant degree of mathematical precision in it, right? That's just a thing he's saying is true. Like, was there a study that you did? Or anyone else did?
Question, though. Didn't the Egyptians use mathematics to
absolutely
build stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yep. They had squares, they had plumb bobs. There we go. They had squares, they had compasses, they could do geometry. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be done in a way that uses mathematical formulas and machines.
Which,
yeah,
it doesn't require machines.
Well, I mean, copper saws are machines.
I know what he means by machines.
I'm going to take a drink for him being technically correct. Yes, it does require mathematical formula and machines in the broad sense. Two things which the Egyptians had.
He doesn't mean machines. I guarantee
Being
it.
generous.
He means stuff like laser-powered cutting saws.
No, he does, but I'm being generous.
I hate to say it because I'm not disparaging the Egyptian civilization. Because
You kind of
Yes,
are,
you
though.
are.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
You absolutely are.
That has this exact same energy as like, I'm not racist, but there's nothing you're going to follow that but with that is not the thing that you don't think it is, right? If you think, I'm not trying to disparage the Egyptian civilization, but they didn't know what math was, yeah, that's disparaging the Egyptians because they absolutely did know what math was.
they did incredible things. The only question.
What incredible things do you think were actually the Egyptians? Because from what I can tell, pretty much everything that the Egyptians did, this guy could say, oh, well, no, that was the aliens because the Egyptians couldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Or the Nephilim.
Did they put the holes in the wall here that are interrupting this carving? But the carvings themselves were just the Nephilim or the angels or the aliens? Like,
no, they probably carved those because they actually saw hybrid creatures created by the Nephilim, which goes back to the legends of animal-human experimentation in the Sumerians and the Assyrian legends and stuff.
Ah, of course. How could I have been so foolish?
Yes.
Is, did the Egyptian indigenous people get their own history right, or did Western scholars get it right?
Oh my god.
There's not a big disagreement there. Okay. So I'm going to take a drink. We're going to get into this.
Or did Western scholars get it right?
Okay.
Man, shut up.
There's a few trends going on here. One is the fact that the knowledge of the how to read Egyptian was largely lost except for Coptic over the course of, basically the Common Era. So people could read Coptic, but they did not know how to turn that into like Demotic or Hieratic or even less into hieroglyphics, which means that everyone, whether they be Egyptian or Western imperialists, which would include Rome, by the way, kind of forgot how to read the history of ancient Egypt. Now, after it was rediscovered how to do this, both local Egyptians and other scholars went around trying to decipher all of this history. And there isn't actually a whole lot of disagreement. Like, if you go to, like, the Egyptology departments in Egypt, they're not, like, having some crazy pushback against, like, what the people in Europe or North America are saying about Egyptian history. No, they're collaborating, right? Like, they're taking funding, they're doing joint expeditions, things like this. They're even sometimes loaning out artifacts to foreign museums for display. However...
Loan being the key word.
Yes. However, there is a cottage industry of so-called tour guides who will make up the craziest shit that you want to hear because they know it makes them more money. And they'll say, oh yes, I heard this from my great-grandfather, who heard it from his great-grandfather, who heard it from his great-grandfather, who was an Egyptian priest of Thoth. And it's like, oh, really?
Okay.
And it's like, no, not really. That guy just wants more of your money. It's just a scam.
It's like the guys, they give tours because they say they're chematologists.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's just a scam. There's not actually this living tradition of ancient Egyptian history going back to some mythical past with giants and angels and whatnot. All of that is weird speculation based on books like 1st and 2nd Enoch that were written long after any of these events occurred, long after. In fact, long after Genesis was written and compiled.
It's fanfic because the passage about Enoch is like a verse long.
Mm-hmm. But it's an interesting verse, so it creates lots of speculation.
So
it's like we've said earlier.
So they wrote some fanfic.
It's the same thing as like
it's just the biblical extended universe.
Yeah,
we've
earlier compared it to the fact that like if you look into the expanded universe in Star Wars, every weird little creature that was just a random mask they had at the Hollywood prop department that someone stuck on an extra that's in that cantina scene in the original Star Wars movie has a full name and backstory, complete with like a family, a job, the whole works, that you can look into in the extended canon. Is that something George Lucas intended? No, he had a werewolf mask and he stuck it on some extra and put him in a bar scene. It's the same thing with all of this stuff. So, no, there is not some separate oral history being passed down through the generations by Egyptian sages that you can only learn by paying $65 for a quick tour of the pyramids. That's not how any of that works. Inkboy for €5 says, I am not saying that anything is a package of one-eyed snakes, but interest in Genesis. We'll take a drink. Okay, here we go.
Because they specifically state the time of the gods is much older. I will say to your point,
the reason people say the time of the gods is much, much older is because the gods never seem to leave much of a historical or archaeological record. So if you want to believe that they did all these things in the mythic past, you have to put it way in the past so that you can excuse away the fact that you don't have the historical or archaeological records. Because here's the thing. Ancient Egyptians had archaeologists. We have records of pharaohs sending people out to investigate ancient Egyptian ruins to figure out what the deal was. Because remember, Egyptian history spanned like 4,000 years.
4,000 years. Yeah.
They were like, what are these ancient ruins? Let's go investigate. Which is a little crazy to think about, that the ancient Egyptians had their own archaeologists who were puzzling over their own ruins. I just think it's cool.
Iron Age, Bronze Age, Stone Age, it really doesn't matter to me. Like Yusef...
Yeah, who cares about the actual technology available in different time
periods? Who cares?
Not important.
Nah.
Shows us at these different sites. He says, when you look under the microscope...
Yusuf, who, by the way, you're paying handsomely compared to what most other jobs could net him in Egypt. Just going to put that out there. It's the same thing with Mokele Mbembe, right? There's no actual evidence that Mokele Mbembe is some long-standing, like, cryptid from the Congo. Every available indication seems that it was made up by Congolese people to trick dumb white people into giving them more money. And good on them. You know what? Good for them. Benthic Tunicate just gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. They went to My Unfinished Journey, Sir Equinox, Kip Davis, Pragmatic Crystal, Vagary, Local Interdimensional Cephalopod, and I think that is it. So here come 5 drinks. 1. By the way, this is just straight liquor, so I'm taking much smaller drinks than normal. Yeah. 2. Oof. I just spilled some on my chin. 3. 4. And 5. But it's brandy, which is a good sipping liquor, so, you know.
Yeah.
It's not the smoothest brandy. Though. Oh, yeah, it definitely has a kick. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of like, let's continue.
Breathing fire.
What? I mean, it's 80 proof liquor. I'm just drinking it neat. No rocks.
Kip Davis is excited that he has his membership back.
Nice.
Spam those emojis, Kip.
Yeah. Also, hey, why don't you connect your Discord to your YouTube account so you can get in the cool Discord that we're all in?
Like the plane isn't broken in a lot of these carvings. Meaning,
what is? Okay, he's gonna tell us what that means, because I was like, what does that mean?
Like, you can't do it with this pounding and grinding and polishing. And
first of all, I can do a lot with grounding and pounding, so let's not go too far into that. But also, why? What?
Because he said so.
Okay. Yeah. Vadim says, are you ridiculous. Just flaunting your chin to humiliate poor extinct Neanderthals? I mean, no, I don't have a chin in the human sense, like a projecting bit of bone. I just mean it got on like the outside of my bottom jaw towards the front. That's really all I mean. But that's a clunky set of words, so I just call it a chin. You know, it's like when you say like, oh, hey, that goat has a beard coming from his chin. It doesn't really have a real chin in the human sense, but you know, it's close enough. Yeah. Kip Davis says brandy is better in a snifter. Well, Kip, I'll tell you what.
Get him a snifter.
First, get me a snifter, or find a time machine, go back in time, stop me from slightly improperly packing my snifter 3 moves ago, and then bring it to me, or just bring it from the past to right now, and then I'll have my snifter back. Inkboy just gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. Thank you very much. They went to Jillian. The entire column is Igneous Ran. Cookies Riot, Jerry Lotus, Ian Chen Official, and Borg Emporia. So we'll take 5 drinks for that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's 1. 2. 3. 4, and 5. Also, this red wine glass isn't that far from being a snifter. So, like, you know, it's not proper, but, like, I'm not using a solo cup.
I would love to see a study done on this. I'll probably have to
Go do a study, my guy.
Amazing.
I would like to see a study done on this, which means he hasn't seen a study done on this, which means, again, this is all just his assertion.
And also, he just wants everyone else to do all the work so that he can just look at it and go, "Nuh-uh."
Yeah.
Bro, do your own study.
Yeah,
Lazy
I'm going to
putz.
give you one of my favorite Gandhi quotes. Be the change you wish to see in the world, James. Be that change. It's one of the things that always bugs me with pseudoscientists. It's like, well, why isn't there a study on this? It's like, I don't know, because most people don't think it's necessary. You
Do one.
Go do the study. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go do it. Oh, you think that you're not going to see curvature of a flat Earth if you send up a balloon? Send up a balloon with a rectilinear lens. Of course, you know, that has already been done. It did show curvature, but we won't get into that.
And they just go, "Nuh-uh."
Well, it's obviously not CGI, even though it was just like some YouTuber in like Michigan.
Yeah.
Clearly on the payroll.
do it myself because I don't think the academic world would, but you can
Yeah,
literally
go for
see
it.
that there
Oh
isn't
my
that.
Okay, here's the thing about the academic world. If you pay an academic enough money to fund a study and, you know, to keep themselves and their family fed during the study, you can get an academic to do the study. Right? Like, I don't want to say that, you know, academics are just a bunch of mercenaries out there. But if you paid some archaeologists and engineers and people who did, like, you know, like laser scanning of, like, high precision laser scanning of, like, objects and whatnot to go out there and study all these ancient Egyptian sites, they'd go do it. And you're like, oh, well, I don't have the money for that. Well, guess what? Y'all can pull enough money together to get, like, Netflix specials done and History Channel specials done. Y'all can pool together enough money to go laser
if they don't
test
have
the
enough
pyramids.
money, this is why grants exist. Write to some like universities or big funders and say, hey, here's my case. Will you fund my study?
Heck, crowdfund it among the other crazy people, right? There's a lot of y'all all out there. You can get some money together.
I mean, LA spent like 10 to 15 grand of his own money to get that stupid fake fairy tested. So.
All right, people are bugging me about snifters. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm on Amazon right now. Snifter glasses set of 4. Okay. I don't want people to get like a $40 one. Okay, look, 928 reviews, 4.5 stars, $30 for a set of 4 snifters. I will click on that. I will add it to my Dapper Dino wish list. There you go. Feel free to buy me a snifter. Or 4 snifters. I don't think you can buy 1 snifter. Alright, so now everyone, if you want me to drink up from a snifter, once again, you can be the change you want to see in the world. Alright, here we go. People dogging on my wine
Davis
glass.
is saying some academics will even find in favor of your profession.
Yeah, if you pay them enough. Or they're just unscrupulous enough. But here's the thing, even if they are unscrupulous and you do pay them and you get some kind of crazy nonsense back, what it usually then does is motivate other, more scrupulous, more principled academics to go and refute it, and then you get real studies. It's kind of like if like you're trying to get an answer on like Quora or something. Don't just ask a question. Ask a question, log into a different account, and then you put in like the most wrong answer you possibly can, and then people will be like, oh, hold up. No, this cannot stand. I would never have answered this question, but I will be damn sure that this person gets corrected. It's the same kind of thing. Academics love to correct each other. That is one of their favorite things. It gives them all the happy chemicals in their brain.
Dopamine go brrr.
Davis says, thank God everyone needs a snifter. Let's see. Has anyone actually bought the snifter already? See if that's no, they have not. Okay.
Interference in the stone that there's almost some other technology at work, and a lot of people say, oh, where are all the tools? And if you look at the esoteric sources and in the texture,
Why would you look at esoteric sources if you're looking for tools?
I'm gonna take a drink. Did you know that esoteric doesn't just mean like mysterious and old? If it's esoteric, you literally can't just go look at it because it's hidden from you unless you're a member of the group that holds the texts. For instance, the upper level texts of Scientology are esoteric, specifically because you have to rise to a certain level within the group of Scientology in order to legitimately get access to them. You can't just go read them because they're locked away. Now, sure, things have leaked, right? Which actually was a fun thing because the Church of Scientology was trying to say at the same time that the people who leaked the OT4 Xenu story had to return all their materials and delete all their materials off the internet for copyright reasons, while also saying that it was fake. And so the courts were like, well, if it's fake, then you don't have copyright over it. So is it fake,
and they
or
were like,
do you have copyright? They're like, oh no, what a
How about that?
Because the thing is, they know that they're not getting it off the internet, right? You can tell the people who leaked it initially to take down all copy they're aware of. Some guy's going to have it on his hard drive, and he's going to upload it to like some torrent site. Like, it's just going to happen.
Pretty sure I still have a copy of it somewhere.
I've seen it. I don't know if I've ever actually downloaded it. I mean, it's all handwritten notes by L. Ron Hubbard. It's like nearly incomprehensible.
Yeah, they're also trying to, I think, engraving it on like golden plates that they're going to stick in like a safe.
They're going to be engraved on golden plates, sealed in a canister surrounded by pure xenon gas to prevent any kind of corrosion. And then they're going to seal that in an underground bunker. Yeah, that's where David Miscavige's wife is now. That's what she's in charge of, because he doesn't want her in public anymore. Yeah. So she's been exiled to go do that stuff. My Unfinished Journey says, Dapper is shilling for big academia. I mean, I guess kind of, yeah. Al Trucker for 9 months and is at the amnio level says, AIG is a pouch of pungent, provocative, progeny-producing proboscis peddled by paratruth-telling perambulators of pernicious pulp fictions.
Perambulators.
Yeah, perambulators is a good word.
That's amazing.
I'm glad I got that right off the bat, because I was like, uh-oh, am I going to be able to say perambulators? And then I did. Take a drink. Look, when you guys hear my...
Yeah, Left-Handed Jedi has a good point. My Necronomicon says...
Yeah. When you guys hear me like smoothly pronounce all these scientific words and stuff on my like pre-recorded videos, you don't hear how many times I screw it up and have to go back. I cut those out.
Indigenous sources, they talk about things like levitation and light and sound technology.
Well, which source is this, buddy? Because
Ragu.
I'm not aware of any sources about levitation in ancient Egypt. So I would love it if you gave me an example of the source, because you know what? I think this is one of those citation needed sort of situations there. Yeah, citation needed, buddy. I don't know why I'm just doing the accent. It was just, it seemed like he just slipped into that accent randomly, so then I did too. I'm just matching the accent.
It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Gonna get all those sources. Did he say in sauces or sources?
Sauce.
I mean, I'll bet there's some really good sauces out there in Egypt. I mean,
hey, I think it's time to go pasta mining.
Yeah, as we all know from Ken Hovind, you can just get pasta right out of the ground. Spaghetti just shooting up.
Yep.
And it just is what it is. You could dismiss it as a modern day scientist, but that is what is specifically noted. And it, just like in Cusco,
it is what it is. Well, they wrote it, so you can dismiss it if you want.
Yeah, but did they write it? Because again, this sounds like one of those things where, like, when Ancient Aliens was like, an ancient Hindu text, the Vimana Kshatra, and it's like, you look into that, it's like, oh, you mean that thing that some guy said he channeled from a dead guy in, like, the 1890s? Yeah. That ancient Hindu text? Okay, cool. Mark A. Smith for $20 says, bloopers reel? I mean, I guess I could do a bloopers reel, but the thing is, I would have to, like, completely edit a separate version of the same sound file. Oh, drink for Mothra. There's a Mothra.
I heard Mothra this time. Tea.
So, I would really have to feel like there's a whole lot of demand for a blooper reel, because it would end up actually being quite a bit of work. And, like, if I were to actually animate it as if it were part of the video, that would be a whole lot of extra work. And I'm already running.
Be released to like patrons or something.
Yeah, I'm already running pretty close to like the limit of how much video production I can reasonably do in a day, almost every day. So, it's not impossible, but I mean, I would have to feel like there's a lot of demand for it, a lot. So maybe it's not a no, but it is definitely a probably not anytime soon.
Places we've been together, that you just can't dismiss that away. It almost makes.
You guys didn't hear Mothra? Oh, I must have too much of a noise gate on my microphone. She came by, trust me.
I am just so glad that I finally heard it. Because I can never hear when it goes off when I'm watching your streams.
Mark A.
Ever.
Smith says, also enjoy your snifters. The snifters are on the way. Thank you very much, Mark A. Smith. Now I'll have
Sweet.
snifters for the occasional times I have Brandy around. So, awesome. Actually, maybe that'll make me have Brandy more often. I do like Brandy, I just don't buy it very much. Maybe because I don't have snifters. Okay, here we go.
Sense to read it like that as a stonemason.
Don't worry about it.
Job.
Fingerprints of the Supernet. Yes, only ghosts and angels can cut granite. That's the only possibility.
You mentioned Cusco and Sacsayhuaman, Ollantaytambo, and there's different sites. But we also see megalithic sites like in Israel. We'll be going there in October. And what's amazing about this, that they discovered this huge dolmen. I mean, it's the largest dolmen in the Levant. And the roof of that.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, dolmens are basically burial structures made out of big rock. So like you can go down into the dolmen and there's usually an underground chamber where people were buried and they were marked by stacking a few big rocks on top. So, yeah. Also, Mark A. Smith, if you could let me know what the estimated delivery day is, because I want to make sure that I'm waiting for those snifters to grab them before any porch pirates grab them. Because while it's not a huge problem around here, it does happen. And I would feel bad if they just disappeared.
Thing, I mean, it's just like, we're not talking a bunch of oxen pulling this thing up a sand ramp. I mean, so how is it done?
Yeah, LA, you're right. No human being could stack rocks like this.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So the answer, how is it done, is a combination of rollers and leverage. That's all you need. You can move rocks that big with just wood and humans. You don't even need oxen. I mean, they help. Mark Smith says, so a cairn? I actually don't know all the differences between a dolmen and a cairn. I think cairns usually are made of smaller rocks than dolmens. Other than that, I'm not even sure that's true. But there are similar structures, yeah. So I don't know. I would have to look into that. I got a history degree, not an archaeology degree. And even then, when you get a history degree, you actually just don't learn all of history, as it turns out. That's why I have a very poor internal idea of like the chronology of Roman emperors. Didn't really study it. So, yeah.
Oh, right, I forgot. Rei Oshima, who's probably being serious, but I'm going to read it as a joke. Demons. Solomon trained his demons to carve stone without metal tools so they wouldn't violate Exodus 20.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, why do it yourself if you could just harvest demon power? I mean, duh.
I mean, that is the whole point of Solomonic magic, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at those stones, which weigh 40, 50, 80, 100 tons.
Those stones do not weigh 40, 50, 80
They don't weigh 40 tons. Yeah, there's no way.
That is not the stones you're thinking of. Asto 1 Marzulli equals 10 Hovens Ryu for $4.99 says, wonder what the 12 Hoven genius Marzulli thinks of course, of Techno Titland. Yeah, obviously.
Techno Titland.
Techno Titland. Or Tenochtitlan.
Tenochtitlan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tenochtitlan is probably a more appropriate way of saying it. But I do like Techno Titland.
Yeah. One of the best ever.
And they're all polygonal shapes.
Those aren't polygons, dude.
Yeah, those are. Oh,
hold on. What polygons are those? Look at the smooth-sided curves in places. Those. Taking a drink for just looking at that and saying, "Not sure is a polygon, my friend." Okay.
Polygons just mean shapes, apparently, to him.
Yeah, any shape is a polygon.
all polygonal shapes. You just, I mean, we're looking at a technology which has been lost to
stacking
mankind.
rocks.
No,
It's called stacking rocks. Yeah.
Yeah, this is stacking rocks plus being able to pound rocks where you can see that they're not fitting together well. So you do a test fit of the rock with things like cranes, which ancient people could make out of these wonderful items called rope and wood. That's all it takes to make a crane.
Yep.
And then when you do the test fit, and you're like, oh, okay, there's a part there where it doesn't fit. You pound that part out with a stone pounder. Then you do another test fit. You're like, oh, now it doesn't fit here. And then eventually you get a nice fit that you can't even slide a knife through because you pound out all the places where it doesn't fit.
So the really, really super nicely fit together stones are on the outside of structures. The inner, like, fill stones are just, like, crap rocks. They don't even care.
Often filled in with more just sediment to help keep them together. Vadim Samovsky-Rachenko says it's high polygons graphics, not like your Commodore 64 graphics. Oh, I see. Yeah, when we get down to a small enough level that we actually see that it's actually composed of tiny little triangles the whole way through, like a 3D thing. Okay. This next one.
Kip Davis is saying, hey, Dapper, maybe you should have gotten your history degree from Columbia. They know everything about everything.
Well, maybe next time I'm getting a history degree. All right. Our next section is, of course, La Marzulli et les escaliers de la forêt et d'autres choses.
Oh, God, this one's so...
So this is from...
We're not going to get all the way there, though. It's going to have to be a next time thing.
I don't care. I just need people to know that this exists.
They will. Precision-minded, with 2 E's. Pelagic tunicate with pasta sauce. For €2 says, genuine question, is it possible to exceed 1 Hoven? Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing it.
Yeah, we are seeing it.
Yeah, and LA is definitely a young Earth creationist type guy. Like, he doesn't believe the exact same things as, like, Ken Ham or Kent Hovind. But, like, yeah, he's all on about, like, the flood and, like, you know, God directly creating organisms and all that good stuff. It's just he's much more into archaeology than he is trying to explain, like, taxonomy. Heather, Shoggoths are smarter than Roger Coon. Oh, for $2. Says polygons are 2D. Does he mean polyhedral? I think he means, like, if you take, like, just the front area of it and you trace out the edges, that it represents a roughly polygonal shape. I think that's what he actually means. Of course, he probably doesn't know enough to actually really get deep into the geometry about, like, does he mean polyhedral? Does he mean, like, the cross-section of one of these rocks is going to be polygonal? So, yeah, he might mean that. I think what he means is, like, the if you just take a cross-section of the face, it would end up being polygonal.
It's a shape that has multiple sides, but it's not exactly a square or a triangle or a rectangle.
Also, the Siloof compliments me on my French. Thank you very much. Of course, the Siloof doesn't speak French, so, you know.
From Kevin from Texas. And
right,
Kevin writes, I'm currently working on a book on the Nephilim. I'd like your opinion on the possibility.
Kevin is just, I'm also working on a book on this. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Of giant megalithic statues. The giant statues of Ramses in Egypt are...
Yep. No pharaoh would ever have any statue of himself carved at larger than life size. Why would you even do that?
No, they were very humble.
Yeah. I mean, nothing says humility like proclaiming yourself the divine son of the king of the gods that is here to make sure that you are, like, existentially allowed to continue to survive and will have an afterlife. Because without me, of course, you would simply decay away and your spirit couldn't find your body again. You would not get to go to the wonderful afterlife where you get to keep farming for all eternity, because that's what the afterlife involves. Which, kind of lame.
Also, Captive Dusk is reminding us, LA let it slide that Sid Roth doesn't call him anymore because he's too cray-cray even for Sid Roth, who is cray-cray.
Oh, man. When even the other crazies are like, nah, I don't want to touch this. Goodness.
Actually life-size representation of the Nephilim made by the Nephilim, especially in light of the technology used to make them, which we can't duplicate today. Got to be careful here, Kevin. Sometimes they make statues and they make them really big to show the power and might of the king.
Hey, he's right about that. Good job, LA.
He wins the r/self-aware-wolf
Yeah,
award for today.
You recognize that it is possible for someone to order a statue of themselves that is larger than they are in real life.
Supposed to make it really big to show how awesome they are. But, this big obelisk is totally not made by me.
No. Look, pharaohs can carve giant statues of themselves, but square-based four-sided pillars, not an option. They can't do that.
Mm-mm.
On the other hand, sometimes they don't do that.
Oh.
And what we're looking at is a
Wow,
real
sometimes they make them big,
representation.
sometimes they don't. Ugh, brilliant insight there.
No, I think he's about to say that some of the big statues are actually of Nephilim. I think it's worse than that.
Of what these ancient Nephilim beings look like.
Yup, that's exactly what he's going with. Sometimes it's just a big pharaoh that wasn't a big person, but sometimes it actually is a Nephilim. Which really, shouldn't that just be a Nephil?
Nephal? I don't know. I don't care.
Well, I know that im is the masculine plural ending in Hebrew. Take a drink.
Siluf is saying, no, those aren't statues. Those are obviously actual fossilized Nephilim.
That's a good point. My apologies to Roger for not recognizing his brilliance. Actually, okay. I didn't have anything to say about it, but in this video, he actually gets a question about Roger from Mod Fossil U. Because there's a big overlap between his fans and the fans of Roger.
Oh my god, please, keep going. We have to get to this.
I cut it out, though, because the thing is, L.A. Marzulli is just like, no, Roger's just crazy and it's a bunch of pareidolia. So I didn't have anything to say about it.
This.
But you'll have to find it in the actual video. It's not in
but
the
it's
supercut.
Funny. You should have kept it in. Dude, you know me.
Do you know how long it took for him to basically just say Roger's crazy? It took
Probably
him
like
8
2.5 to 3 minutes.
So long.
Okay, yeah.
James Duncan, who's been a member for 13 months and is at the amulet level, says Dapper needs to get a degree from Patriot University. I'll just get a recommendation from my pastor, which is a requirement there. It's actually one of the reasons why we didn't super further pursue Chesh getting a degree from there, because we thought it would be fun for her to get a degree from Patriot Bible University.
Thanks, Kip. It's no fall participle.
No fall. Okay. There we go. I'm almost certainly going to forget that, but I will try not to.
God kings, if you please. God with a little g. Hope that helps with the answer.
We are God kings,
Here's the
if you please.
Oh, that's an old movie.
We are Nephilim, if you don't please.
Question from Nancy. I remember you saying that you believe the Greys are demons in some sort of a bodysuit.
Of course. Just take a drink.
You guys thought I was exaggerating.
The Greys are not only real, they're demons in bodysuits.
In bodysuits?
Obviously. They cosplay as aliens at all the conventions.
I am wondering how, then, one or more died at the Roswell crash.
Which we just accept without any incredulity. Just full on, oh yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. Let's take another. I can't anymore. Just more drinks.
Every day we get closer to disclosure.
Yeah, we've been doing that for
never forget
decades.
Yeah.
How could it die if it's in a suit? This has my head spinning. Nancy, it has my head spinning.
I remember calling the late David suit made of vibranium? Like.
Okay, well, I actually know this because I had to listen to enough of this to figure out whether or not to include it. So I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay. Dave, what about this? Did they crash it deliberately? What are we looking at here? And it's complex.
Oh.
Very complex. Oh. The Greys, in my opinion, are biological avatars. Oh. They're created.
So it's basically just the avatars like from Avatar with James Cameron. But instead of a human in a tube controlling a gray body, or an avatar body, it's a demon somewhere in the spiritual realm piloting a meat puppet gray body. Sure.
Of course.
I mean, what else could you possibly have thought that grays were? What, things that people just kind of make up because of pop culture? No.
So
yeah, Artville intensifies on that.
Yeah. Goodness.
Yeah, big time.
Oh, man. I would have loved to see an L.A. Marzulli Art Bell call. Because the thing is, Art is actually a little bit skeptical. He does sometimes give pushback.
Mm-hmm.
Or did sometimes give pushback, I suppose. And so if he had talked to L.A. Marzulli, I'm curious as to what things he would have given pushback on, because it would have been some of it. Because Art isn't just wasn't just completely credulous about everything, right? He was like, every once in a while, he was like,
Yeah.
Really though? Did that really happen? And people are like, oh yeah. And he's like, I don't know if I buy that.
Demons, which are the disembodied spirits of a Nephilim.
Oh, okay, so we have a new demonology. Okay, so angels fall.
Okay, the closest that you're gonna get is LA was on Coast to Coast, but with George Norrie, who took over after Art passed. That was from like 2011.
Yeah, that's not Art. Okay, so I'm trying to get the demonology straight. So the Nephilim, the angels fall, then they mate with human women to produce the Nephilim, who are now disembodied demons because I guess they're all extinct and their ghosts are now demons. But they've somehow created meat suit puppets in the form of gray aliens that they use to fly their flying saucers. But sometimes they suck at it and they crash in the New Mexican desert and their meat puppets die.
This is giving big disembodied spirits and trapped in a volcano by Xenu energy.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, it's interesting lore.
And they just get all attached to you, and yeah. That's what this is giving. Thetans.
It's
Thetans.
Thetans, yes. You don't want to say Thetans, because then all the Scientologists know that you don't know what you're talking about.
Heaven forbid.
I know, right?
That they think I don't know what I'm talking about.
What, do you want to come across as a wog?
And our spirit beings can manifest
or whatever after me.
No, the squirrels know how to pronounce Thetan. Because they're not wogs, they're squirrels. There's a difference.
In this dimension. That's conjecture. So when they're crashed, they're not losing anything. They're losing a meat suit because the demon can just leave that avatar, if you please, and go from there. On the other hand,
right out of there.
Yeah.
We don't know what really crashed there. Were they the Greys or something else?
What are the other options? I'm curious.
God. Reptilians?
Yeah, maybe it was reptilians. I just love the idea that, no, we're absolutely not going to even pretend to contest that it was an alien space or some kind of extraterrestrial spacecraft. But was it demon-inhabited gray meat suits? Or was it reptilians? Or what? We don't know.
Also, Captive Dusk is saying, watch the Starchild interview. It's a two-parter. If you don't already, aliens get here by interdimensional.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Fossil Daddy and I did 2 videos on L.A. Marzulli, and the second one was directly addressing race.
Yeah, that was the Starchild stuff. Yeah. Look, after this, go subscribe to Fossil Daddy and watch the videos.
All right.
Something else. There was a email that came across my desk. I'll be reading that this week on our UFO report. I think you'll find it absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, guys, he has a UFO report as a regular show, obviously.
There's a lot to
all the names and places will be changed to protect the
so you can't check up on it. Got it.
Innocent, but it's a very interesting story that came across my desk, and I will be sharing that.
Staircases.
Okay, this is from Lori. Greetings, Mr. Marzulli. I'm asking you this question because you are the world's foremost authority on the Nephilim.
I'm just gonna take a drink for that one. Woo! Wow.
Okay.
Yep. You know, I'm the world's foremost authority on bugbears. I can make up anything I want about bugbears, and you know it's true because I'm the world's foremost authority on them. Yep. So, take that. Vadim Samofsky says XCOM music intensive.
XCOM music intensive.
Nice.
I understood that reference.
That's debatable. My brother had a DNA test done a few years ago, which showed he had 2.5 Neanderthal DNA. We have the same mother and father, so I assume I also have Neanderthal DNA. We are of far northern European ancestry. My question is, were the Neanderthals Nephilim? If they were, and I have their DNA, can I be saved and someday enter the kingdom of God?
Okay, so this is a woman who thinks that maybe Neanderthals were Nephilim, even though the Nephilim were supposedly giants, and Neanderthals were shorter than Homo sapiens, and is now worried that she might not be able to go to heaven if 2.5% of her DNA is from Neanderthals. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I have to take another drink. How do you...
Please, I'm begging you. We have to get through. We have to at least have him mention the staircases. Okay.
We'll have to go long if we do that.
Okay, even if it's only a few minutes.
I read my Bible daily, repented of my sins, and have cried out numerous times to Jesus that I want to be saved, but I don't feel saved.
Hey, I'm pretty sure that right there in like Mark 82, it says no Neanderthals, GTFO. So you're screwed, lady. It's right there.
Yeah.
Can you please give me some hope? This is from Lori. First of all, the fact that you're even asking this shows that you're not a Nephilim. Nephilim are in a fixed state. Second of all,
oh, this is more lore.
Okay.
Apparently, the Nephilim can't change. I don't know how they managed to get their gray meat suits then, because that seems like a change. But what do I know? I'm not the world's foremost expert on the Nephilim. Oh my goodness. Asta 1 Marzulli
it's incredible.
Asta 1 Marzulli equals 10 Hovens Ryu for 4.99 says, I'd change my name to Asta Lantern Dragon Expert Ryu.
Lantern Dragon
But YouTube isn't letting me, so here, have some money instead. I do think they limit how often you can change your name. I think it's like every few weeks
it's
or
like
something.
once every couple weeks or something.
So
we don't know what 2.5% of Neanderthal actually means. Nobody does.
I think it means that of the alleles that you have, 2.5% of them came from Neanderthal ancestry. I think that's what that means. I mean, that seems like what it would mean, right? Like exactly what it says? Maybe not.
All right. So I would take it, Lori, that you are born again, you are saved.
Oh, good
Don't
job, Lori.
let the enemy rob you of that. Just the fact that you're writing in shows who you are and that the Lord loves you. This is from Rita.
My Infinite Journey, member for 10 months, says, is that a bag of Nephilim or is it AIG? I'll take a drink. Thank you very much.
Trying to pull up my DNA report to see how much Neanderthal I have.
It's 80%. You're basically
apparently it's less than 2%, I think.
But is it more than 0%?
But they're not giving me a number, and I need the number. They used to tell me.
Well, you might be able to get into heaven.
They used to
We're
tell
not
me
sure
the
yet.
number. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very short, very pithy. I love it. Thank you, Rita. And the question,
Okay.
Stairs in the Woods. Do you have any information
Here it
regarding the staircase in the woods stories? Are they real?
Okay. So, first, let's tell people what the staircases in the woods are, because not everyone knows about this, right? So there were some art projects that I don't remember who did them. I don't even think it was one person. But basically, they just built some stairs in the woods. And they look weird. And so people took some pictures of them.
Yeah.
And then some other people wrote some creepypastas about the stairs in the woods. And how, like, you know, oh, I was a park ranger at such and such a park. And I was always told by my colleagues if I ever saw stairs in the woods not to go up them. And sometimes stairs would just appear. And one time I saw a kid climb up these stairs and I tried to stop him, but when he got to the top, he disappeared. And it's all these creepypastas. And to be fair, I like creepypastas, right?
Yeah.
I have fun with creepypastas. I mean, they're obviously not always, you know, world-class literature or anything, but, you know, they're a fun thing to listen to while I do some art or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is L.A. Marzulli about to be credulous of creepypastas about stairs in the woods. Yeah, I think there's also an SCP about it. I mean, SCP is basically a particular subgenre of creepypasta as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah.
I've heard about them.
Yeah.
I've heard about them. My immediate response to that would be, if you're in a wooded situation and you come upon a staircase in the woods, you don't go up it.
I'm just gonna take a drink for LA's like, yep. I heard about this. Nope. Now, to be fair, I'm also going to tell you, don't climb random bits of stairs that you find in the woods. Not because you'll be whisked away to the realm of demons or something, but because there's a good chance that they're kind of rotten out there, because the woods aren't exactly the greatest place to just put a timber structure. So, you know, you might fall through, not to another world so much, but just to the ground and then be under a pile of wooden nails, which, not ideal, right? So, I do actually agree with the advice, just for different reasons.
Okay.
Okay, real simple. You say, Father, in the name of Jesus, I ask that your angels would come right now. I command your angels to come right now and close this gateway, close this portal.
Yeah, see, he's not telling you because of structural integrity problems with the stairs. He's telling you that it is in fact a portal to some other realm, and Jesus is going to help you sort that out with angels, but not the fallen angels.
You have to command them.
Yes. Yeah, you got to name it and claim it. That's the deal.
Yeah.
In Jesus' name. I want nothing to do with it.
They're literally just some art installations.
And it's been taken down because people were like, oh no, and freaked out about it. So yeah.
Goodness. Oh, I just love that he and his fans are like, oh yeah, these creepypastas about stairs in the woods, absolutely true.
Rebuke first,
hey,
ask questions
Dapper.
later.
Yes?
Do you think I should write to him and ask him about the back rooms?
Yes. I want an LA's Marzulli take on the back rooms.
Okay.
The deeper into, if you can do like multiple questions where you get deeper and deeper into the obscure lore of the back rooms, like if you get to the pool rooms, like let me know. Like, are those demonic baptismal fonts for being baptized into the Church of Satan in the back rooms? Is that what the pool rooms are? I need to know.
Yeah, we need to write to him about the.
So we are at a pretty good stopping time. We got about a third of this left. I can probably do a supercut with a few more videos. But next is Question de la déluge de Noé avec la Marzulli, which you can probably translate. Actually, you know what? Shanti, do you know what that says?
Questions about the flood of Noah with the Marzulli?
Yes, because I did in fact turn his first two initials into just the feminine singular definite article in French, just for funsies. Yeah, I did. It's also in the thumbnail. So, all right. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the flood of Noah apparently next time. And Vishanti sent me, like, I think total of like 6 LA Marzulli videos to comb through. So what I'll probably do is just take this and like tack another video onto the end of it, and that can be what we go through next time. Because yeah,
these just
yeah. So
him thinking a creepypasta is real.
Well, it reminds me of when Roger had to be told by his audience that Mystery Flesh Pit National Park was just an art project and it wasn't real. Because again, I've said this before, but again, Roger thought that during his lifetime, Coca-Cola had marketed an aphrodisiac flavor made of kaiju sex juice, and that same kaiju was the location of a nationally famous park that was shut down after the kaiju started to come awake and destroyed the surrounding countryside and spread all sorts of weird carcinogenic kaiju juice all over the landscape. And he just kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's a Roger thing that happened.
Yeah.
And this is in the same tier, where it's just like, oh yeah, the staircases in the wood, totally portals to another dimension. You better bring those angels down and have Jesus fix it for you, man.
Get scared, call the angels down, because that's evil.
Yep.
Don't go up it.
I mean, like I said, don't go up it, because, I mean, if you find something like that, there's a very good chance it's rotten, so you'll just fall and hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't want to, like, have a broken leg. And, yeah. Like, a really bad place to have, like, a broken leg and, like, all sorts of lacerations is the middle of the woods.
Yeah, really.
So, yeah, if you do see one of these, don't go up it, but it's not because you're going to get whisked away by demons. All right, let's see what's coming up here on the channel. But first, Vishanti, do you have anything coming up? Any other collaborations or anything like that? I think that's a no.
I lost all of your audio for a second.
Oh.
What the heck just happened there? Okay.
Well, do you have
Hi.
any... Hi. How are you?
Bizarre. Hi, good.
Do you have any upcoming shows or collaborations or anything that you want to tell people about?
Oh, goodness. I had to kind of push those back a week because I didn't realize how my schedule was going to work with me house sitting. Yeah. I'll have to let you know.
Well, so on January 4th, actually, no, so on Tuesday, which is going to be the 2nd, yep, the 2nd, we're going to be doing the Nightmare Before Kentmas, because of course it will still, in fact, be Christmas, which means I'm going to stick with Christmas movie themes. Mostly because it helps me get through a whole set of Christmas movies, making it easier for me to come up with titles for Kent with Bent, because I don't know if you know this, but I've gone through so many Kent with Bents, it's not actually that easy to come up with another movie-based pun. Because I've done, what is this, like 126, I think? And almost all of them are movie puns. That's a lot of movies to go through, and a lot of movies don't have...
Halt fast. Godsett Gibbon is doing a premiere.
Oh,
Mothra.
Goodness. There's Mothra. Actually, that's Mothra telling me about the premiere.
Mothra!
That's on the 2nd. On the 4th, the final part of the Batty Bodie's Dinosaur Delusions is coming out. And then on the 6th, we should hopefully be back for more of La Marzulli. So, yeah, if you enjoyed this, we should be back with more of it. Because someone needed a break from Dwayne Gish. All right, everybody. I hope you all stay safe out there. If you're interested, we will be doing Power Rangers over in the server soon. Yeah. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Check out Erica's premiere if you want to. And hope to see all of you on the 2nd. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Benthoven, Philhavara, Tapioca Weasel, Whispers, Denny5252, Elaran Teller, Horseflesh, Ian Chan, Kelvin Brostek Van Manen, Landon Knoll, Mabbity Babbity, Monkey They Them, Robert Carpenter, Sphincter of Doom, Volus, Ita V, and Strawberry Vein. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 10% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos, often 3 to 5 months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.